Okay, today is Saturday, December 20th, and I just want to do a quick video reviewing some of my focus list ideas from last week. Okay, alright, let me just make this full screen. Okay, first up we have REMX. This is the Rare Earth ETF, and as you can see, it never really triggered. Haven't triggered as yet, so we're still waiting on that one. Then we have Wayfair. Now let's look at this one. This is pretty interesting. Broke out, is working nicely, and then we have an a downside reversal. Sorry. This is what technicians will call bearish engulfing candle. So triggered and fail. That's how I look at that one. Tygo. I had some reservations about the fundamentals of this one last week. However, as we could see, nice orderly low volume pullback, then broke out on Friday. So this one was actionable on Friday. We'll be looking for possible follow through next week on that one. VIPS, complete failure, hasn't triggered. Vita Coco, no, this one we were looking at two options. We were looking at one, a move above 55 or 55.10 with a stop below here, and we also were looking at the possibility of a shakeout. That actually was a better setup, and that's what we're getting. So I think this one is really setting up nicely for a big move next week. AMTM hasn't triggered as yet, still forming a nice tight orderly bull flag. GMAB, we tried this a few times 2 weeks ago, and we got chopped up in that handle area right here. So the plan was to just wait for it to clear this pivot level, and as we could see, it did that on Friday, but that was not enough to get us involved. So we want to see a firm trade sideways for a few days, possibly give that 21 EMA some time to catch up, as well as the 9, and maybe offer a little shelf entry sometime next week, or preferably next year. AS, still building a high handle. Already broke out of this copper handle, but building a high handle here. So I think this one should be kept on watch for possible entry. REVG, double bottom, resolving nicely. Broke this descending trend line and is holding above that. So what we want to see is for this thing to trade sideways a little bit, firm up, build somewhat of a shelf, and then get going next week or possibly week after. Twilio, though, this was the one that I had the least confidence in. This is actually the one that resolved the best last week. Just goes to show that in this game you never really know. You just gotta look at everything objectively. So we were looking at this thing building higher lows, and it just took off from here last week, Tuesday I think, and it's holding up nicely. It's working. ORA, fail, leave it alone, let it rebuild. And I think that's it. That's all that we were looking at last week. Now, I have a few ideas for this week. For the week of the 22nd of December. But I won't be doing a whole lot of trading because, it's a holiday week, Christmas is on Thursday. I think Wednesday is a half a day. So generally speaking, you expect to see a light volume. Most of the big traders are on holidays, and major decisions aren't going to be made on this, within the last two trading weeks of the year. So my plan is to just, keep show up each day and look for opportunities, but take it super slow. With that being said, I have a list here of names that I want to keep an eye on, so I'm just going to run through a few of them. Let's switch this back to full screen. Okay, VIAV. As you can see, it's in the number one group. Telecom fiber optics. This group has been on tear for a lot of part of this year. Building higher lows, reclaimed 21 EMA on Friday. So I think if this one can pull back a little bit, firm up, trade tight, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, could provide a low risk entry. Still keeping an eye on GenMab. This, I think I discussed this one in the earlier section of this video. Still keeping an eye on that. SSRM. Now this is a minor, and as you can see, it's some clear band of resistance right here on the daily chart, while building higher lows. Buyers becoming a bit more impatient, so it won't be surprised to see this one take out this resistance level, retest, and then get going again. That's your entry. Twilio, still looking at that. Still looking at this one for it to just pull back, firm up against these moving averages, and provide a nice tight entry. Vita Coco, discussed this one earlier. AMTM, still flagging. We'll be eyeing a break of this descending trend line. REVG, eyeing some tightness within this area. I want to see this get a bit tight here. Trade tight for about 2-3 days and start making a move higher. Tigo could still be actionable at a 2-1 entry next week, maybe, for a super aggressive trader. Shark Ninja forming a nice little shelf right on the 9 EMA. This one could be pretty similar to Coco in the sense that it could move higher on the break of these tops, or preferably a shakeout, firm up, and get going. I think the second scenario is a much better trade idea. If that one panned out. Deutsche Bank, ADR, so you're going to be gapping up and down. A little bit harder to manage risk in these names overnight because of the fact that they're being traded in Germany and also as an ADR in the US market. So that's usually what's responsible for all these gaps. So generally, you trade these ones, you want to trade them at much smaller size because you always faced with a gap risk. But saying that, setting up nicely, a little cup with handle looking thing here, pretty kind of short. Had one right here. This one resolved. Actually, this one is showing up as a flat base. You could also see where it's kind of looking like a rounded bottom, a little V shape, so maybe not as rounded as I thought. Sonos still on watch. Start trading tightly around the 21. Still actionable. Jazz. flagging. You want to see a break of these stops, break of this trend line, sorry. GMAT, building and handle within cup and handle setup. Right now it's just building an angle. Ideally when you want to see a break of this descending trend line, build a high or low, start eyeing an entry, stop on there. NVST, if we look at a weekly chart on this one, we'll see stage 3 decline, and now we see a stage 1 accumulation and potentially moving into a stage 2 uptrend. A break above these stops will confirm that stage 2 uptrend. Anyway, you start seeing high lows, so that's good. Now you want to see a higher high, which this level of resistance, which a break above this level of resistance will confirm a break and hold. And I think if that happens, you're going to see a resumption of that stage 2 uptrend and potential opportunities to participate in an up move. Back to the daily, and if you zoom in, we can see that it's cleared this band of resistance on the daily, and it started to hold above that, so that's interesting. Continue to hold and get nice and tight and low volume next week or week after. We can see this one set up nicely for a low entry, a low risk entry. Roku, I think this one needs a bit more time. I'm just keeping an eye on it, but I don't think it's ready. It's, it's building a cup base. I would rather see a shakeout over the next coming weeks and build a handle. Okay, like I said, this is going to be a pretty inactive week for me as I try to get ready for 2026 and get my psychology and my mind clear for the challenges that lie ahead. All right, hope that helped. Thank you.